Hey guys, Dr. Ben here, Functional Medicine Centers. Welcome. I'm going to go over today why herd immunity is really not going to be sustainable with what we're looking at and even not achievable. So this is information based off of Nature magazine, nature.com, and they went through some really interesting points, and I'll be posting that article down below, and then I will be letting you know exactly why herd immunity isn't really going to take effect, isn't really even something that necessarily we should be shooting for. Instead, we should be talking about what we can do for our immune system, what we can do to drive this body's ability to fight off anything, whether it's a virus, a bacteria, whatever is coming our way, because you know what? There are going to be things coming at us. So, all right, go ahead and pop down below where you guys are watching from. Love to see all over the country, all over the world. But here we go. This is what it's all about. Or, you know, you've heard this over and over and over. Oh, we need 70%, we need 80%. Now it's up, we need 90% to reach herd immunity. But guess what? Here's the reasons why herd immunity is not going to actually work. And it may not even be worth putting our energy into having that thought process. So these are some of the points that nature.com, and we'll post that down below, was talking about. So the CDC just came out a week or two ago and said that we are not preventing transmission with the vaccines. And so this is one of the issues that we're seeing. Hey Jonas, great to see you, is that the vaccines don't prevent transmission. We knew that it kind of maybe sort of did, but now they just came out and said that they are not going to prevent transmission. So what we know is that in this case, it would literally have to be 100% of the population. They quote some great mathematicians, some different people. Hey Angela, great to see you. Some great researchers that talk about, you know, that we would have to be at 100% either infection or vaccination rate to truly stop this transmission. Because here's the problem, is that if we still are just as transmissible if we're vaccinated as if we're not, then this is still going to be going around. It's still going to be going all around the world, and we're such a connected place at this point that you know, it doesn't take much at all for somebody to go from France down to Africa, over to Asia, and then to the United States, and it could you know, get everybody in between. So basically we would have to break the transmission chain, and that's not really going to happen. Hey Christy there in South Dakota. So that's really not going to happen. We know that people that are, the CDC just said this, that people that are vaccinated are just as transmissible as people that are not, especially with the Delta variant. So it's kind of like, okay, well, we're not going to break this transmission. So number two, the rollout and the infection rate around the world, around the country, around the states is totally different. And so this is, and I thought about this when, you know, people started getting the shot in December, but then people had been infected in July and other places. Hey Melissa in Georgia, great to see you. And so here's the deal, is it's staggered. And so we've got all these overlaps, and what happens is that, okay, we know that even according to the Israeli studies, that it decreases, the Pfizer one decreased considerably, even in 6 to 9 months, like into the 60% range. So, you know, then we start talking about boosters, and and all this overlap, if that makes sense. So it's not like everybody got it on day one and now you've got 9 months, whether that was infection or vaccination. Now we have 9 months of we're in the clear. It's going to be this delayed response. So somebody that had their shot in December or January, it's starting to fade and wane. Somebody that got sick last April of 2020, maybe their immunity is starting to wane. So we know that it's this effect where it's a staggered response. We're not going to be able to have that long-term prevention that way. They also talk about the new variants. Hey Carrie, good to see. All the staggering is evident when we see the massive staggering groups. Yeah, absolutely. So then we have new variants, and the variants, it's kind of like antibiotic resistance. So think about this. If you take an antibiotic, you stop in 2 days, it kills off a few things, but a few of the bacteria survive. There's going to be those bacteria that survive are usually stronger, and then they're going to evolve a little bit, and then you're going to do it again. And so this is where antibiotic resistance comes from, and this is the other thing that they're talking about in this nature.com journal article, is that with the vaccines, that people are going to have these variants that are going to evolve. Basically, they're going to expand out, and there's going to be certain ones that get through people that have had the infection, that have had the vaccination, anything like that, and it's going to evolve through there as well. So the variants are actually going to kind of become like antibiotic resistant strains, where they're going to be able to kind of outsmart the ones that survive, are going to be able to outsmart and keep going through there. So the other thing that happens is we know that immunity with a coronavirus doesn't last forever. We know whether that's you had the infection or you had the shot, either way, we know that immunity doesn't last forever. And so it's going to ultimately wane as well. We know that people over 70, their immune systems are depleted and not able to put up enough of a response to actually make antibodies after they get the shot. I've got a patient that had a kidney transplant. She's on immunosuppressants. People that are immunocompromised, we know that they don't make the antibodies, whether that's potentially to the infection or to the shot itself. And so we know that there's not going to be this lasting forever, hard enough to get people to get 2 shots, let alone boosters at the right time. Are they going to be keeping up with that when they need to be doing it? So odds of this being 100% across the board for the duration is really not gonna happen. And then here's the other really interesting part, number 5, that they were talking about, was that that human behavior is going to change. So if you get a shot, if you get sick and think that you have immunity, what are you going to do? You're going to go be around more people. And so if you were like hiding out in your basement, not seeing anybody, seeing one person, and we know that the vaccines are about 90% accurate is what they talk about. And so they say you've got 90% protection from that. Well, with one person, okay, that's pretty good odds there. But then if people are feeling safer, all those things, and they expand out to being around 10 people, and they've got 90% protection, it's right back down to where they were even before. And so really interesting thought process here, and that herd immunity, it's not really going to matter. It's not going to be this thing that's going to be like, oh wow, now this is gone. And that's not how respiratory-based viruses go. It's not like we've ever been able to eradicate the flu, any of these other things. So here's the deal. What do you need to do? I'm not saying, go get vaccinated, not get vaccinated, go have a chickenpox party or not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, okay, herd immunity, according to this nature.com article, is not realistic. It's not going to happen. And yet what we're looking at is, what can you do today to get your body as healthy as feasibly possible? So the things that we've been talking about all along, if people are over 55 on their vitamin D level, so get your vitamin D tested. If you're over 55, you decrease your chance of going to the hospital dramatically. So you've got to get your vitamin D. Are you taking your zinc, your C, your vitamin A, your vitamin NAC, some of these different nutrients, are you taking those on a regular basis? Do you have a game plan for if you do get sick, if you do come down with something? A lot of patients, they'll take 50,000 IU of vitamin D for 3 days. And there's different things that people can do to jumpstart that. Are you doing your exercise? Are you getting up and out every single day and getting movement and exercise and doing some weight-bearing exercise, muscle building activity? Are you going and getting out in the sun and being in the sun every single day and getting that fresh air that needs to be done? What is your sleep like? What's your sleep hygiene like? Are you doing the things that you need to do to get that good quality sleep state? And Carrie, how does magnesium play a role in that? Magnesium can be helpful. And I'll answer more questions down below. I just want to get through this thought process, and then I can answer some more questions. So we've got this sleep that is absolutely crucial for the immune system, and we've got to be able to go through and go step by step of helping that body be as strong as possible, decreasing stress in your life, working on healthy relationships, getting outside in nature, going for walks. Even if you're in the city and all you have is a park nearby, go out and sit under a tree, go out and breathe some fresh air. all of these things are going to be crucial for your immune system. You got to keep your blood sugar steady. Do not let that blood sugar spike up and crash down. It's absolutely horrific to the body, and it's going to put tons of stress on that immune system. So we've got to stay as consistent as possible with that blood sugar. Get your good proteins, vegetables, good fats. Keep the starches and carbs to a minimum, because almost everybody, it's going to make their blood sugar spike up. You've got to be consistent with these things day in and day out. Hey Caroline in West Virginia. So again, nature.com will post that article down below. They say we're not going to be able to prevent transmission, and this article was before the CDC came out and said that is 100% correct. We have uneven rollout, so it's going to be every county, state, country, world is going to be swinging that way. There's going to be variants that almost like antibiotic resistant are going to flow that way. We're going to see that the immunity to the infection or to the shot are not long term. They don't last forever. And then we're going to see that people change their behavior and they get out. And if you used to be around one person, but now you're around 10 people, you're back to square one. There's just as much chance of infecting somebody as you had just being around that one person. So really interesting information, some good food for thought, but ultimately you've got to get your immune system as strong as possible. You've got to stay strong, because there's going to be this one, that one, and the next one coming at you. So, all right, guys, stay strong out there. If you've got any questions, pop those down below. I'm going to run through and I will answer some of these questions here. And let's see if anybody wants to stay on and listen. You're more than welcome to. Eleni in Arizona, good to see you. And all the staggering is evident. Yep. And yes, I am not, but now on quarantine from work because a fully vaxxed person tested positive to COVID. So that's something that we're seeing. It doesn't. I follow. Yes, I'll admit it. I've been a New York Yankees fan since I was a kid. They've had 3 outbreaks this year of vaccinated people. So we know it's happening. And then people that have been infected, they may, people that haven't been. So there's a lot of potential of people still being able to get positive tests. And if they're still doing the PCR, we know how out of balance those PCR tests and not as accurate as they should be. Let's go here. I will live my life without fear as I see it. All right, Alan, you're going to take care of that body. And so how does magnesium play a role in this? Magnesium, it has some muscle relaxing, some sleep benefit, some things like that. So all in all, for the immune system, magnesium doesn't have a huge effect on that. Magnesium citrate is going to help you go to the bathroom, have more regular bowel movements, take NAC as preventative. Some people do take NAC as a preventative, but it's great antiviral, but it's also a precursor to glutathione. Glutathione is one of the best nutrients out there. It's one of the best liver detoxifiers, all kinds of different things. So let's see, what is NAC? N-acetylcysteine, so that's the precursor to glutathione. And let's see if I missed any questions. Hey Tam in Anaheim, and what's the best unit to test my blood sugar? The best way to test your blood sugar is a continuous glucose monitor. For those of you that do not have them, you can use the finger prick. And I don't have any books in here, but my Blood Sugar Doesn't Lie book, you can look at that one, and that's got a lot of information in there as well. You can get that on Amazon. Hey Suzette, good to see you in North Platte. Michelle in Camp Verde, great to see you as well. And what do you recommend on a daily to take? So Angela, great to see you. So personally, I'll take some vitamin D. I take some fish oil. I take my amino acids before I work out, and I'm working on a couple other systems in my body specifically, so I'll do some of those things. But most people, if their vitamin D isn't where they need to be, you need to get your vitamin D where it is. If you're a school teacher and around a lot of sick kids, no matter what kind of sick kids, you should probably be taking some zinc and some vitamin C on a regular basis. That's probably not a bad idea as well. And just double check, get that vitamin D tested. That's going to be a really important part. You can't just guess. You really have no idea. Hey, Nancy in Kansas there, good to see you. Carol, great to see you in Westminster as always. And Carol, hopefully that answered your question on the NAC. John, where did the flu go? Interesting. 2019, 62,000 people or so died from the flu. 2020, 646 people died from the flu. So it did go away. There's a lot of theories on that. But if the flu does come back this year, same thing. We've got to do those same things that we're doing on a regular basis. So unfortunately what the research shows, Mary, that if somebody's in the hospital on that vent, they've really gone, and we talked about this way back in March and April of 2020, that the first 7 days are crucial, is what the doctors on the field have found, is that if you can get somebody calmed down in the first 7 days, that's going to be huge. Otherwise, it's going to have that potential to spike into this inflammatory state, this cytokine storm. So really, really important. You've got to calm things down even in that first week and not let it get to that point. Send me a direct message, and there's some resources out there. There may be some people watching this that can post down some links as well. But yeah, there's definitely some things that can still be done at that point. And yeah, so Jennifer, hopefully that helped. That vitamin D, some fish oil, a probiotic is going to be great as well. I don't think I mentioned that one. So do that probiotic on a regular basis. And I like to rotate different kinds because there's 1,200 different strains in our gut, tons and tons. So don't just do the same one. What's your gut health and immunity? Yeah, exactly. What I just said. That was great timing, Jana. So gut health, huge part of this immune system. We've got to have that, but it's not just about taking probiotics. You need to know if you've got bad stuff in there. You've got to kill it off as well and take it. So this is something that we do with our patients all the time, is that we'll do kill off, build up, killed off, build up, and sometimes cycle through that 2 or 3 times depending on how bad things are. Is that your book? So it's Blood Sugar Doesn't Lie, if you just look that up, or Galyard, Galyardt. It's on Amazon. Hey Kim, great to see you. I sent vitamin D with my college students and elderberry. Anything else? I would do some zinc. If they're going to be around a lot of snot-nosed college kids and pulling all-nighters and drinking beer and doing all kinds of stuff, I would have them do some zinc as well. If they're having any GI issues, send some probiotics. Vitamin D, the research is showing for this one at least, is over 55 is what we want vitamin D levels at. Yeah, 60 to 80 is great, but 55 is what the research shows. Yes, Jenny. So stay tuned, guys. Over the next couple days, I'll be doing on what do you do when your kids are heading off to college or elementary school or middle school, high school, whatever it is, some of the things that you can do there. And Scott, great to see you in Hartwell. Christina, you're only at 30, so yeah, you've got to get that up, retest in 3 months, and make sure that you're in that good place. Yeah, it seems like they were lumping flu and COVID together with these PCR tests. Well, and that's what the FDA just came out and said. They need to be able to differentiate, not that you can't tell the difference between the two, but if somebody came back positive on PCR test, then they wouldn't test for the flu, so then it just got lumped as that. But we know that the PCR test, most labs were running way too many cycle thresholds and just not getting where they need to be. What about zinc? Yes, depends on the person. You can do a zinc taste test, but really most people are in that 50 range on there. How do you do kill off of the bad? So that would be things like garlic, oregano, wormwood, a lot of different things out there that we use for kill off. Quercetin, yes, yes, quercetin can help pull that zinc into the cells, so that's very helpful. You don't need the quercetin with the zinc, but it definitely is helpful. So you can do that quercetin. Good for your brain as well. Fastest way to get them up, vitamin D. So getting outside between 11 and 1 every day in your bikini would probably be the fastest. Well, maybe not, but that's how much sun you would need. So just taking an internal supplement is going to be the best. It's vitamin B, good for college kids too. Not bad. It's not going to do a whole lot for the immune system, but there are other benefits for vitamin B. What is a good zinc supplement and what dose, both therapeutic and maintenance? So we'll post a link to a source that we like for supplements, and then in that 25 to 50 milligram range is pretty good for maintenance, but therapeutic you can go higher than that. And let's see what else. Yeah, the bees, the berry, they're helpful, but I wouldn't put it as like, ooh, that's going to really help that immune system. Alan, good to see you. And Mary, what are you doing, Mary, to help your immune system and to deal with things there? Some mushroom tincture, yeah, that could be helpful as well. And so Angela, you're one of those that has to be out 11 to 1 in your bikini. Get that sun. Goj over in the Philippines. Yeah, vitamin D with K2, perfect. And that's it. All right, guys, looks like that's it for questions. So thanks for being on. Really, really interesting information. We'll post that link down below, and you can see what the author was talking about and where this information came from. So great having everybody on there. Stay strong, keep your body fighting, and you're going to be able to deal with a whole lot out there. Take care, everybody.